Hi, my name is Matthew. I'm a senior at university studying biochemistry, and I've had a difficult year. And during the midst of all that, I just saw all this negativity going around the world, and it just brought me lower. And one day I thought of an idea. What if one person made a video about positive moments people had in 2016? And that idea just inspired me so much. I've never done any filmmaking before, but this is something I really wanted to do. At first I was really hesitant. I didn't know if people would want to be a part of this, but I could not have been more wrong. This is my video, and I want to thank you for watching.
– 2016 has been the most exciting year in my life so far. I got to witness seeing my family come over from Vietnam after a 10-year immigration process. And growing up as an only child was really lonely, and now that I have more family close to me in time for the holidays, it's been great. And to top it off, they got to witness seeing me graduate from a big university, and being the first graduate in my family, I know I'm making my family proud.
So, a moment this past year that made me happy. So I actually qualified for a stand-up comedy competition this past year, and I'm pretty new to comedy, and it's still really nerve-wracking to me, and anybody that has known me in the past knows that at least I used to be a really quiet person, and I have a fear of like being in front of a lot of people, I guess. So qualifying for this competition and getting in front of like 300-400 people in like an intimate environment and just acting like a damn fool in front of them and doing well was actually a really, really happy moment for me. It was a big moment for me to be successful at that and like kind of overcome that challenge.
So an important moment this year for me was seeing my first patient ever. So I know like in school it's always been like taking tests, studying for exams, there's always something like that coming up. But then when I finally saw my first patient, I was like, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And so it wasn't anything big, it was just a little dental cleaning, nothing crazy, but still like having the patient in the chair, checking like the medical history, vitals, and then actually like touching inside their mouth rather than like plastic teeth I've been working on all year. It's always great.
A positive moment from this year that we both shared was when Thomas came home from Alaska, where he was at for 3 months. And it was a really tough summer, and I don't know, it was just amazing to see him at the airport.
Yeah, for sure. It was one of those cool personal, professional highlights for me, but it also put a different strain on our relationship that we had never shared before. We went from never spending a day apart while we were dating to then all of a sudden 3 months where we would never see each other. And that was a quarter of our first year of our relationship. So finally leaving that problem and coming back to one another was an awesome experience and just an incredible feeling.
Happy was, I was just really grumpy one day and came to work just mad and upset at a lot of things, and as a teacher you have to kind of put on a face and ignore those emotions, but I wasn't really good at that day. I was with one of my kids, and he was reading, and he wanted to grow really well with his reading level, and so I wanted to test him, and he grew tremendously from a really low level to being able to know how to read, which is amazing to see. And his best friend was kind of watching him from the corner, and he came over and like hugged him from behind and patted him on his back and said, "You did such a good job, like wow, I'm so proud of you." And to see a 7-year-old kind of love on his friend like that, and I'm sitting over here being super grumpy and super mad at everything, and just to see that put everything into perspective and made me realize, like, even though you're super mad or super upset at something, that rejoicing in someone else's joy is much better than your own worries. So that's what made me happy.
I'm Detective Lilly with the Tempe Police Department. I am a detective currently assigned to the Tempe gang unit. I've been a police officer going on 6 years now. My treasured moment for this year happened in August. I was working a large investigation. There was a shooting investigation with our gang unit. It was a very tedious investigation. It took me months to solve with teamwork, obviously from my unit and supervisors and stuff. But when it was all said and done and I got the people in custody that it needed to be taken into custody, the most rewarding feeling I got was I actually received a letter from one of the victims' family members, along with some brownies that came along with it. It just reminded me how important this job is and how important this career is to people, at least in our community. I don't get a bonus when I solve a case. I don't get any special recognition. It's just pure satisfaction that I was able to bring peace to those families, and something I look forward to every day. It's kind of my drive. It is fuel for me and something that I treasure and love.
2016 was very up and down for me, so having seen the highs of traveling overseas and having seen the lows of school and having these stresses of working and being a young adult and going to school full time, being an engineer, it's taught me a lot. So I think the happiest moments with traveling, coupled with the lessons that I was taught of being that if I have to get there, I have to endure the lows to get to the highs. And the lows have taught me the most about myself is, one, because I'm a fighter, because I'm still here. I haven't given up on any of my dreams, and no matter how far I get knocked down, I'll still continue to strive to be where I want to be. So if I want to continue traveling and enjoy the joys of being able to go overseas and meet new people and enjoy the different cultures, you know, you have to go through the lows and really grind it out and realize that without success, without failure, there isn't success. And to use these low points to really catapult yourself to a new high, reinvent yourself. And there's nothing wrong with taking a positive from a negative, and that's one thing that I choose to live by.
So one thing that really made me happy this year was when I was in Spain with my cousin and her friend. Her friend was a journalist, and her friend only knew how to speak Spanish. My cousin knows how to speak English. So they were both talking with me about the situation in Syria and how sorry they feel for the situation over there, and her friend was literally apologizing for me that their government only accepted 500 refugees and that she feels very ashamed. So I told her to not to, and it's actually, it makes us, me or like any other Syrian, feel very extremely happy that people like her are feeling this way about us. And then also a funny thing that happened, one of the guys that were over there, he was an old man. He came up to us and he said something in Spanish. Of course, I didn't understand anything. And then my cousin, she translated to me. She said, he's telling you that he's very happy to have you here and that you are more than welcome, and just feel that Spain is your home. So that really made me happy. Also, the treatment that everybody was treating me, it would just make any Syrian refugee that been through a lot in his life just forget everything about it and start really to work hard and live with these people in his new home.
I would say the happiest moment of 2016 for me would be going to California to see one of my good friends. And the reason why it's my happiest is because out of everything that's been going on, you know, in 2016, it was then where I felt like I was where I needed to be, and I was there for the right reasons, and I was with people I cared about, and I just felt like it was right, you know, and I wanted to be there, and I had a lot of fun, and it was just good to see old friends and be happy and know that, you know, friendships can last, you know, between, you know, they can last over long distances in time, and that's not going to stop a good friendship, and that's what makes me happy.
So I was on one of those Humans of pages, you know, like Humans of New York or Humans of Amsterdam or of Paris, and I was on that page and I was kind of having a bad day, and I was reading a post about a girl, and she was talking about how she's been dealing with depression for a long time, and she was opening up about it for the first time, and she was really nervous about putting herself out there. We couldn't see her in the picture, but you know, we saw the message that she was talking about, and she was just going through a really tough time. And what really impacted me about that was just seeing all the comments on that page, giving her support, giving her advice, giving her hope.
And I know there's been a lot of talk about just a lot of negativity around the world, and sometimes it has you feeling like there's no good people anymore. And just seeing that, just seeing all these people give support to this person they've never met before, just gave me hope and showed me that it was a reminder for me that there are a lot of good people out there, and it made me feel good. So that was my positive moment of 2016.